The Supreme Court today gave its stamp of approval to the 2019 August decision of the Narendra Modi government to defang Article 370. Very crucial points made by the Constitution bench led by Chief Justice of India, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, ruling that Article 370 was a temporary provision. The Supreme Court, in its unanimous and of course concurrent verdict, also said sovereignty of J&K was lost when Maharaja Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession. But what does this mean for the situation on ground in J&K and of course vis-a-vis a troublesome neighbor like Pakistan? Joining me on this special broadcast is Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, former Kashmir Corps commander. He was at the helm in the Kashmir Corps when 370 was defanged in August 2019. General, welcome on this special broadcast. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Parliament had said that some had warned that rivers of blood will flow if Article 370 was touched, but actually on ground, not a pebble was hurled. Today, when the Supreme Court upheld that decision, in your appreciation, is this the end of the debate on Article 370 in Kashmir?
Thank you, Gaurav, and good day to all your viewers. Article 370, as your viewers would be aware, and as the Supreme Court has very rightly observed, was inserted in the Indian Constitution as a temporary and transitional provision. For reasons political and otherwise, somehow this temporary and transitional became too long and for very long period of time. But on 5th of August 2019, when Article 370 and 35A were abrogated, and it was done exactly in consonance with the provisions of Constitution of India. And this is not the first time in the history that the Constitution of India was amended. There have been, before 5th August 2019, if I am not wrong, 106 times the Constitution of India had been amended in the past. States have been bifurcated, states have been trifurcated in the past, post-independence. So there is a precedence, and it was absolutely legal and in consonance with the Constitution of India. Yes, today's decision of Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, with 5-judge unanimous decision, I think it should put an end to the debate on Article 370. Having said that, there are enough people in this country whose survival exists on the very nature of politics or business they do. They are the people who would like this to be kept alive.
That's very interesting you should mention. Very interesting you should mention that there are some people whose business and whose politics survives on Article 370 or politics around separatism, if I may. Mehbooba Mufti, former Chief Minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, and Omar Abdullah, again former Chief Minister of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, they've used words like this is a defeat of idea of India, and that there is, they have lost a temporary battle today. But politics apart, in your appreciation, is this a defeat of idea of India, or is this a defeat of that idea of separatism in India?
Gaurav, without going into the politics of it or what a particular or other politician is saying, I would like to only say as a responsible citizen, the same very politician owe the allegiance to the Constitution of India when they have to be elected to a particular house or a particular appointment or a particular chair. Because it suits their narrative, it suits their business, as we spoke in the previous question. But when it comes to Article 370, the same very people will speak against the same very Constitution of India. When they are in power, they won't speak like this. When they're not in power, they will speak like this. So I don't give any credence. I'm not using the word much credence. I'm saying I don't give any credence to such people, because their survival, their political survival is based on this. They're not talking to you and me. They're not talking to themselves. They're talking to some constituency which they think they command. So I don't take them seriously at all. They are irrelevant people. They will keep saying things. The fact of the matter is the highest constitutional authority in the country, that is the Supreme Court of India, has put a stamp on the abrogation of Article 370 being legal and binding. And that's where it stands.
Fair enough.
Let anyone say anything. That is the truth and that is the reality cast in stone.
Did Article 370 give an impression to the people in Jammu and Kashmir, and especially in the valley, that they are not part of India? And the political leaders over decades, did they keep a gun to India's head? Has that gun finally first taken away in 2019 and finally that gun broken by the Supreme Court order in 2023?
Gaurav, let me a real story. When on 5th of August 2019, when the Article 370 and 35A were abrogated, as you are aware, I was there in Chinar Corps as Chinar Corps commander. More than 85 to 90% people did not know what is Article 370. And more than 95% people did not know what is 35A. It did not affect their daily lives. It did not affect the livelihood of a common Kashmiri. For it is roti kapda makan ki ladai. For him, uske bacche ki zindagi ki ladai. For him, uske bacche ki padhai ki ladai. For him, uske raat ke waqt ki roti ghar mein pakegi ki nahi pakegi. Uski rozmarra ki zindagi ki ladai thi. This Article 370 was being used only by the politicians to tell the people that they are the biggest hamdard. Who has gained the maximum from the Article 370 over the last 70 years? Has the common Kashmiri gained from it? Or have only the politicians gained from it? Or have only those people in the ecosystem, as I call them? May it be local politicians, may it be Pakistan, may it be ISI, may it be Hurriyat, may it be terrorists, may it be some NGOs, may it be some vernacular journalists also. They are the people who have gained from Article 370 being there. So when Article 370 was abrogated, nothing has changed in terms of article being there or not for a common Kashmiri. Yes. What has changed for common Kashmiri is the number of tourists who are coming, the peace which is prevailing, his child going to school for 365 days, whereas in earlier days, 280 days, the schools used to remain closed. What has changed for him is the hotels booking going 100%, the flights coming full, his handicrafts being sold, his sumo doing over, it's sumo a tremendous business, his ponies getting the tourists. This is what has changed. This is what has brought in economic development and happiness for a common Kashmiri.
How did security forces in 2019, General? How did the security forces ensure peace in 2019? And is there a fear? I want to ask you this. Is there a fear if the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, for example, if it is removed, the situation could go back either to 1990 or hybrid terror could be the new form of terror that will target maybe tourists in Kashmir, maybe people in Kashmir, including security forces and their families?
Gaurav, I'll answer this question in two parts. First is, how did the team security forces handle the situation on or after 5th of August 2019? Here I would like to amplify the team security forces, which includes, like I always say, Indian Army, Jammu Kashmir Police, CRPF, intelligence agencies, civil administration, as also the Awam of Kashmir. This team security forces was very clear that it is a writ of the government that Article 370 is abrogated, and on each and every square inch territory of sovereign India, writ of the Indian government will run. So having put that as an aim, the second aim of team security forces was that while implementing this abrogation, no harm should come to a local Kashmiri or a person of Jammu and Kashmir, and no civilian death should happen at the hands of security forces. No property should get damaged. And team security forces had built up their efforts and energies for this. And they worked in a very coordinated and synergized manner to achieve peace.
Okay.
Wherein, like you said, there were politicians who were saying खून की नदियां बह जाएंगी. There were politicians who were saying तिरंगे को कंधे देने वाला कोई नहीं होगा. Nothing of the sort happened. Kashmir remained peaceful, and it is peaceful and progressive. Now coming to the second part of the question about Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Here I would like to say, never take a hasty decision. That is what in the army we are told. Appreciate the situation. Situation is evolving. Terrorism is going down. Peace is coming back. And now the consolidation phase is going on.
Okay.
Don't be in a hurry to take any step which can take us back to where we were, as you said, 1990 or 2019 or wherever. These are very considered decisions with great amount of inputs from the experts and commanders on ground. Only then we should decide if A, B or C has to be done and at what level it has to be done.
Fair enough.
There
The Home
should be
Minister in
there
Parliament.
should be no jingoism in that.
No, that's
We
a
need
very
to
good
be very
point you
careful.
made.
We have a
That's a very good point you made, that there should be no premature declaration of victory. And I'm really sorry to say that some, even those who wore the uniform sometimes, or some intellectuals, including journalists and some political leaders, very powerful political leaders at some point of time, were calling for removal of Armed Forces Special Powers Act, prematurely declaring victory. Very dangerous there. But there is a 70% drop in terror deaths, zero stone pelting, as the Home Minister said in Lok Sabha in 2023. But in your view, is this temporary? Is this calm very deceptive? It's only on the surface. Beneath, you still have terrorism. You still have that terror ecosystem that hasn't been taken down.
Here I would like to say, economics drives everything. There was a time in Kashmir जब उसके घर में रोटी नहीं बनती थी, तो उसके बच्चे को कोई 500 रुपया देता था, बोलता था जाके पत्थर फेंक कर आओ. The child would go and throw stones and bring 500 rupees so that उनका चूल्हा जल सके. Today, like I said earlier, after abrogation of Article 370, when there are tourists coming, when there are hotel bookings are full, the handicrafts are selling, the shops are doing a marvelous business, and most importantly for any parent, his or her child is attending schools. They see a future of the child. They see that tomorrow he will become an engineer or a doctor or any other professional or do his own business. So there is a life waiting for this young child and not a gun and an encounter and a death. So this is where the situation what is today is irreversible, because Awam, the stakeholders, the beneficiaries of peace are now involved in it. They will never slip it, go back to the situation where it was.
But the terror tap, General, the terror tap remains in Pakistan. Pakistan remains a terrorist state, and you've had 6 or maybe 7 tenures, if I remember correctly, in Jammu and Kashmir. In every tenure you would have seen, Pakistan will talk peace but send terrorists. Whether there is a Benazir Bhutto who was at the helm of affairs, or a Nawaz Sharif at helm of affairs, or a Musharraf at helm of affairs, civilian or military, 1993 Mumbai blasts we've seen, 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks we've seen, Kargil war we've seen, Gen K assembly attack we've seen, parliament attack we've seen, recent terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir like Pulwama we saw. Pakistan controls the terror tap. How does one control that, their funding and their weapons and the indoctrination?
Yes, remember the words of Pervez Musharraf when he was in China. कि टूटी तो हमारे हाथ में कभी भी मरोड़ देंगे. Yes, I agree with you. Pakistan retains the capability to create trouble in Jammu and Kashmir as also in some other parts of India. Pakistan is a terrorist state. Pakistan state sponsor terrorism is a policy of the government. Hence, you are right. Pakistan can create trouble. The point which I am making is the Kashmir of today is not a Kashmir of 1988 or 89 where people will get carried away. India of today is not an India of 1989. Today, we are the 5th largest economy in the world. We are 1/5 of the world in human resource. Our technological advancements and political will, which is most important, will make sure whatever Pakistan may try, I'm granting it, the Pakistan will try its best, because Pakistan, whatever they do in Kashmir has a resonating effect inside their own country. Their economy is doldrums, their foreign policy is in doldrums, their politics is in doldrums, their military is in doldrums. So to take the attention away from all these problems at home, Pakistan will continue to create trouble in Kashmir. We need to be careful about it. And that's exactly what my point was in the last question. We should not do anything in a hurry which can turn the apple cart. There are three stages which are very important today. First and foremost is we must consolidate the gains which you have made. We should, under no circumstances, allow it to get frittered away. Second is hard operations should continue till the last terrorist on the Indian soil is eliminated. But that would be only a very small portion of the effort. Most important is where 80 to 90% of the efforts will go is to consolidate the peace gains, to give succor to the population. जो उनके दर्द हैं, जो उनके घाव हैं, उन पे मलहम लगाना, उनको पीस के डिविडेंड से अवगत कराना, उनकी जो इनकम है हाउस होल्ड की उसको बढ़ाना, बच्चों को अच्छी एजुकेशन देना, रेडिकलाइजेशन को खत्म करना, अच्छा हाइजीन सैनिटेशन, अच्छा हेल्थ केयर, एंड मेक कश्मीर द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल प्लेस ऑन दिस अर्थ अगेन. That is how we have to go forward, and do not take any decision in a hurry which can take us back by a few years or decades. I think that's a very dangerous trend. People should not jump
What
to those
are
conclusions.
future threats that you see in Jammu and Kashmir, especially with Pakistan fueling that tension, indoctrination, radicalization that we see in our neighborhood, and also a threat that comes, from the other neighbor in the north?
Yes. See, as a country of our size, the only country in the world with two nuclear neighbors and not being friendly with you, both of them. So we need to be very clear. We have challenges. We need to accept those challenges, and we need to be prepared for those challenges. We need to keep our powder dry where it is required, to do the healing touch where it is required. It's a whole of nation approach.
Okay.
Not only the military can do anything, not only the politics can do anything, neither only the administration can do anything, executive. It's a whole of nation approach where हर अंग जो है देश का वो मिलकर जब मजबूती के साथ काम करेंगे तो जितने भी हमारे चैलेंजेस हैं, बहुत से हमने ओवरकम कर लिए हैं, बहुत से अभी ओवरकम करने बाकी हैं. We need to be very clear that we are a nation which has challenges, may it be coming from the west or the north or from within. We cannot close our eyes to them and just say everything is tally-ho. No, sir.
General, what would you say to those who say that Kashmir in times to come could be the next Gaza? Is that a real apprehension? Is that a fear?
Gaurav, all these words, all these statements are made just to give credence or give elation to themselves. How can we compare two places on this earth? How can we compare two sets of people on this earth? The reality of Gaza is all the Muslim countries around, all the Muslim world around, do not want any Gazans to come into their country. And then there is the Hamas, which is a terrorist organization which is supposed to be representing the Gazans. Whereas in Kashmir, it's a different story. कश्मीर एक हिंदुस्तान के ताज के बे में एक गम जैसे गुलदस्ता होता है ना, वैसे है. We have Hindus, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Buddhists, we have Jains, we have Parsis, we have Sikhs. Kashmir is a mini India. The point is, the Kashmiri Pandits or Kashmiri Hindus who have been thrown out, will they return to Kashmir? As I said earlier, who had imagined in 1940 that Jews will return to Israel? Today, that's a reality. Similarly, in Kashmir, as the situation improves, as the peace comes in, Kashmiri Pandits or Kashmiri Hindus are natural residents of that place. They have to go back, and they will go back.
Okay.
We should never think that that's a thing which is of the past. No, sir. Kashmir belongs to all the religions, all the communities. The most peaceful of everyone will be there. And I see Kashmiri Pandits returning, at least in my lifetime.
That's I will let that be the last word on this part of the show, that Kashmiri Hindus will return to their homeland. The situation will improve to that level that once again Kashmir will be the paradise that we always knew Jammu and Kashmir to be. For joining me here on this India Today special broadcast, Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon, former Kashmir Corps commander and former Chief of the DIA. Many thanks for joining me.